Fluency in English is not something that happens in a single day. It is not a sudden achievement or a magic trick. Instead, fluency is a gradual process, much like planting a tree and nurturing it over time. When you plant a seed, you cannot expect it to grow into a tall and strong tree overnight. It needs water, sunshine, and constant care every day. In the same way, fluency requires effort, patience, and consistent practice. Every moment you spend practicing English is like giving water and sunshine to your tree of fluency. If you take care of it daily, one day it will grow strong, and your skills will flourish. Many learners make the mistake of expecting results too quickly. They study for a few weeks and then feel frustrated when they cannot speak fluently. But fluency is not about rushing, it is about steady progress. Just as no farmer expects to harvest a crop the day after planting seeds, you should not expect fluency without time and persistence. Every word you learn, every sentence you speak, and every story you listen to adds another layer to your foundation. Slowly, you will realize that you are more confident and more capable of expressing yourself in English. Daily practice is the key. This does not mean you have to spend 8 hours with a textbook every day. Instead, it means you should find opportunities to use English in your daily life. Small but consistent practice is far more powerful than occasional long study sessions. For example, spending 20 minutes each day talking to a friend in English is more effective than studying alone for 3 hours once a week. The brain remembers better when it learns and repeats in small, regular doses. One of the best ways to practice is by talking to friends. When you speak to friends, you are more relaxed, and the conversation feels natural. You don't have to prepare long speeches or perfect grammar. The goal is to communicate and express yourself. Even if you make mistakes, your friends can help you, and you can help them. Imagine having a daily 10-minute English conversation with a friend. In 1 month, that adds up to 300 minutes of speaking practice, an enormous step forward. Another powerful tool is listening to stories. Stories are enjoyable, and they make the language come alive. When you listen to stories, you hear natural sentence structures, new vocabulary, and the rhythm of the language. At first, you might only understand a little, but if you listen every day, you will understand more and more. Listening helps your brain absorb patterns unconsciously. Over time, you will start to use these patterns naturally when you speak. Singing songs in English is also an excellent way to practice. Music has rhythm and melody, which make it easier to remember words and phrases. When you sing, you train your pronunciation, your rhythm, and your intonation without even realizing it. Many learners who sing English songs regularly find that their speaking becomes smoother. For example, if you sing one English song every day, you practice pronunciation and vocabulary while also having fun. Reading is another important daily habit. Reading shows you how sentences are built and how words are used in different contexts. You do not have to read difficult books at the beginning. Start with simple stories, articles, or even subtitles. When you encounter new words, write them down, and try to use them in your own sentences. Over time, reading will increase your vocabulary and help you speak more confidently. Remember, even reading for 15 minutes a day can make a big difference after a few months. Writing is the final piece of the puzzle. Writing allows you to organize your thoughts and practice new structures. You can keep a journal in English, writing just a few sentences about your day. For example, today I went to the market. I bought some fruit. The weather was hot, but I enjoyed walking outside. This simple habit forces your brain to think in English and strengthens your ability to create sentences. If you write every day, you will see clear progress in your fluency. Consistency is more important than intensity. Many learners ask, how many hours should I study every day? The truth is, it is not about the number of hours, it is about building a habit. If you can practice English in some way every day, whether by speaking, listening, reading, or writing, you will move closer to fluency. Think of it as exercise for your brain. Just as your muscles grow stronger when you exercise regularly, your language skills grow stronger when you practice daily. It is also important to create an environment where English is part of your everyday life. Label objects in your house with their English names. Change your phone's language to English. Listen to English podcasts while walking or cooking. Think in English when you are alone. Ask yourself questions in English and try to answer them. These small actions add up and create constant exposure to the language. Most importantly, enjoy the process. If you see practice as a boring obligation, it will be hard to continue. But if you connect it with fun activities like songs, stories, conversations, or games, you will look forward to practicing every day. When you enjoy the journey, you do not even notice how much you are learning. Fluency is built step by step. Each day of practice may feel small, but together they create something powerful. Just like watering a seed every day eventually grows into a tall, strong tree, your daily English practice will one day give you the confidence to speak fluently and naturally. Do not rush, do not give up, just keep practicing a little every day, and fluency will come. When learning English, one of the biggest obstacles many students face is the fear of making mistakes. They worry that if they say the wrong word, use the wrong tense, or mispronounce something, others will laugh at them or think they are not smart. Because of this fear, they often stay silent, waiting until they can speak perfect English. But the truth is simple: if you wait until you are perfect, you will never speak at all. Perfection is not the goal, communication is. Mistakes are not failures, they are teachers. Every mistake you make is a step forward, not a step back. Think about when you first learned to walk as a child. Did you walk perfectly on the first try? Of course not. You fell many times, but each fall taught your body how to balance better. Soon, falling less and less, you learned to walk confidently. Language is exactly the same. Every fall in English, every grammar error, every forgotten word, every awkward sentence, is helping you get closer to fluency. Many students only start to improve once they accept mistakes as part of the process. I once had a student who was so afraid of being wrong that she almost never spoke in class. She would sit quietly, writing notes but never raising her hand. One day, I encouraged her to try speaking, even if she made mistakes. At first, her sentences were broken, and she often stopped in the middle because she didn't know the right word. But instead of correcting her harshly, I encouraged her to continue. Day by day, her confidence grew. Within a few months, she was speaking regularly. She still made mistakes, but she was communicating, and that was the real progress. The most successful learners are not the ones who make the fewest mistakes, but the ones who make the most mistakes and keep going. They understand that each error is valuable feedback. If you mispronounce a word and someone corrects you, you will probably never forget it again. If you use the wrong tense and your teacher explains the right one, that lesson will stay in your mind. Mistakes highlight the areas you need to improve, which means they guide your learning. Without them, you would not know where your weaknesses are. Another important point is that native speakers also make mistakes. Even in their own language, people sometimes choose the wrong word, forget grammar rules, or speak unclearly. The difference is that they do not stop communicating. They laugh at their mistake and continue. You should do the same in English. Remember, the goal is not perfection, but connection. If your listener understands you, you are successful. Even if your sentence is not grammatically perfect, there is also a psychological shift that happens when you stop fearing mistakes. Instead of feeling nervous every time you speak, you start to feel curious. You begin to ask yourself, what will I learn today? What mistake will show me something new? Suddenly, mistakes no longer feel heavy, they feel like opportunities. This positive mindset makes learning much faster and more enjoyable. Of course, it is natural to feel embarrassed sometimes. Nobody likes being corrected in front of others. But embarrassment is temporary, while the lesson you learn is permanent. A student once told me, "Teacher, when I made a mistake, I felt so bad." I told her, "Yes, but now you will never forget that lesson. Your mistake gave you a gift." She thought about it and smiled. From that day, she saw mistakes differently. One of the best examples comes from children. When children learn to speak, they make hundreds of mistakes every day. They mix up words, create strange sentences, and often confuse grammar. But they keep trying, without fear. Why? Because they are focused on expressing themselves, not on being perfect. And eventually, they succeed. Adults can learn a lot from this fearless attitude. Fluency is not about speaking without mistakes, it is about speaking without fear of mistakes. When you let go of the need to be perfect, your words flow more easily, your confidence increases, and you learn faster. Ironically, the less you worry about mistakes, the fewer mistakes you will make, because you will practice more and gain more experience. To conclude, remember this truth: every mistake is a lesson in disguise. Mistakes are not signs of weakness but proof that you are trying, proof that you are learning. The only real failure is silence. So speak up, be brave, and allow yourself to stumble. Each stumble will push you forward, until one day you realize that what once felt impossible, speaking fluently in English, has become your reality. When it comes to mastering English fluency, one of the greatest secrets is listening. Listening is the foundation of language learning, the skill that shapes how you speak, how you understand, and how naturally the words flow from your mouth. If speaking is the fruit of the tree, then listening is the soil and water that make the tree grow. Without deep and regular listening, it is almost impossible to develop a natural sense of rhythm, pronunciation, and expression in English. Think about how children learn their first language. They do not begin by reading grammar books or memorizing vocabulary lists. Instead, they spend years simply listening to their parents, their friends, and the world around them. They listen to thousands of words every single day, and slowly, their brain starts to make connections. Words begin to have meaning, sounds begin to have patterns, and sentences begin to form naturally. Only after so much listening do children finally start speaking. This is the same process that can help you with English. The more you listen, the more your brain absorbs the natural patterns of the language without you even realizing it. Listening does not mean passively hearing English in the background. It means truly paying attention, focusing on the words, and trying to catch the sounds and rhythm of the language. Songs, stories, podcasts, movies, and conversations are powerful tools because they expose you to English as it is really spoken. When you listen to songs, you not only enjoy the music but also train your ears to hear pronunciation, intonation, and emotion. When you listen to stories, your mind begins to connect language with meaning and emotion, helping you remember phrases much more easily. And when you listen to conversations, you hear how real people use English in everyday life, which is exactly the skill you need when you speak, but listening alone is not enough. The next important step is to train yourself to think in English. This is the moment when true fluency begins. Many learners slow themselves down because they try to translate every word from their native language into English before they speak. This process is like driving a car with the handbrake on. Every sentence becomes a struggle, and by the time you are ready to say the words, the conversation has already moved on. To become fluent, you must let go of constant translation and start building the habit of thinking directly in English. At first, this might feel uncomfortable. Your brain is used to relying on your native language as a base, so switching to English feels like entering unknown territory. But just like training a muscle, the more you practice, the stronger it becomes. Start small. Instead of translating a whole sentence, try to think of simple words in English throughout your day. When you see a book, tell yourself, book. When you drink water, tell yourself, water. When you walk outside and see the sky, think, the sky is blue. These small habits start to rewire your brain, making English more natural. Over time. You can expand these thoughts into full sentences and even inner conversations. For example, when you are preparing breakfast, you can think in English, I am making coffee. I will eat bread and eggs. Later, I need to go to work. When you are walking, imagine describing what you see in English, such as, the street is busy today. The cars are moving quickly. There is a child playing with a ball. This simple practice might feel silly at first, but it is incredibly powerful. It transforms English from something you only study into something you live with. Another powerful technique is shadowing. This means listening to a sentence in English and repeating it immediately, trying to copy the sound, the rhythm, and the intonation exactly as you heard it. This exercise not only improves your listening skills but also connects your thinking with speaking. Your mouth and your brain begin to coordinate naturally, and soon you will notice that you can speak more smoothly without stopping to translate. Listening and thinking in English also help you understand culture and emotion, not just words. When you listen carefully, you notice how people express politeness, humor, or excitement. You notice the rise and fall of their voice when they are surprised or when they are serious. These small details are what make communication natural and human. Without listening, you might know the grammar of a sentence, but you will not know how to say it in a way that feels alive. The journey to fluency is not only about studying harder but also about surrounding yourself with English as much as possible. Turn your phone or computer into English, watch movies without subtitles when you can, listen to English radio while you cook or drive, and fill your environment with the language. The more you expose your brain to English, the more natural it will feel to think in it. Remember that listening is not a passive skill. It is an active practice of training your ears, your mind, and your heart to connect with the language. And thinking in English is not something that happens overnight. It grows step by step, with patience and practice. But once it happens, you will notice a powerful change. You will no longer feel the heavy pause between your thoughts and your words. Instead, your sentences will flow naturally, your mind will react faster, and your confidence will rise. In the end, the secret to fluency is not magic. It is listening deeply and thinking directly in English. These two habits will transform the way you learn. Every time you listen to a song, every time you hear a story, every time you practice thinking in English instead of translating, you are planting seeds of fluency in your mind. With time and patience, those seeds will grow into confidence, clarity, and the ability to express yourself freely. That is the power of listening and thinking in English, and that is the path toward true fluency. When most people think of fluency, they often imagine speaking fast like a native speaker. But real fluency is not about speed. It is about speaking with clarity, expressing your ideas smoothly, and being understood by others. You do not need to rush through your words to prove your fluency. In fact, speaking too quickly can sometimes confuse both you and your listener. True fluency is the ability to communicate effectively and confidently, even if you speak a little slower than others. Clarity is the first step. Clear speech means pronouncing words in a way that others can easily understand. It does not mean you must have a perfect accent. Accents are natural and part of your identity. What matters most is whether people can follow your words without difficulty. To achieve this, practice shaping sounds carefully, pay attention to stress and rhythm, and avoid mumbling. Reading aloud is a wonderful exercise. Choose a short article, a page from a book, or even song lyrics, and read them out loud every day. As you do this, listen to yourself and notice how the words connect together. With time, your mouth will grow used to forming English sounds, and your voice will naturally become clearer. Confidence is the second step, and it grows through practice. One of the best ways to build confidence is to record yourself speaking. At first, this might feel uncomfortable, but it is incredibly powerful. When you listen to your own voice, you can hear your strengths and also notice the areas where you hesitate or struggle. Do not be discouraged by mistakes, instead, use them as a guide for improvement. Each recording is like a mirror that shows your progress over time. After a few weeks, you will be surprised by how much clearer and stronger your voice sounds. Speaking with others is another essential practice. Language is meant for communication, not just self-practice. Find friends, classmates, or colleagues who are also learning English and set regular times to speak together. You can talk about your day, share stories, or even debate interesting topics. The more you practice with others, the more natural speaking will become. If you do not have friends nearby who speak English, join online groups or clubs where people gather to practice. These communities are full of learners who share the same goal as you. They will not judge your mistakes, because they are learning too. Together, you can support one another and grow. Another powerful method to build clarity and confidence is teaching. It may sound surprising, but teaching others what you know is one of the fastest ways to strengthen your own skills. When you explain something in English, your brain is forced to organize ideas clearly and express them in simple words. This strengthens both your understanding and your speaking ability. You do not need to be an expert or a teacher by profession. You can simply help a friend, a younger student, or even share short explanations online. Every time you teach, you are practicing English in a meaningful and memorable way. Daily use of English is what makes these practices stick. The more you bring English into your life, the more natural it becomes. For example, when you shop, try thinking in English about what you are buying. When you cook, describe the steps to yourself in English. When you travel, try ordering food or asking for directions in English, even if it is just in your imagination. By doing this, you are training your brain to react in English automatically, without pausing to translate. These small daily habits build reflexes, and reflexes are what create confidence. Remember, confidence is not about never feeling nervous. Everyone feels nervous at times, even native speakers. confidence is about speaking anyway, despite the nerves. The more often you face the fear of speaking, the smaller that fear becomes. Over time, speaking English will feel natural, just like speaking your own language. It is also important to celebrate small successes. Maybe you had a conversation with a stranger, or maybe you managed to express your opinion clearly in class. These are victories, even if you still made mistakes. Every success proves that you are growing. Confidence is built step by step, through effort and persistence. Finally, never compare your journey to someone else's. Every learner has a different pace, different challenges, and different strengths. Some people may speak faster, others may know more vocabulary, but your focus should be on your own growth. If you can express yourself more clearly today than yesterday, you are moving in the right direction. That progress, no matter how small, is worth celebrating. In the end, speaking with clarity and confidence is about much more than just learning words and grammar. It is about building trust in your own voice. When you speak clearly, people listen. When you speak with confidence, people respect your message. And when you use English daily, it becomes part of who you are. Do not rush, do not fear mistakes, and do not hide your voice. Speak slowly if you need to, speak bravely even if you feel unsure, but most importantly, speak. Because every word you say is one step closer to true fluency. Learning English is a long journey, and like any journey, it requires fuel to keep moving forward. That fuel is motivation. Without motivation, it is easy to give up when challenges appear. With it, you can continue even on the hardest days. The first step to staying motivated is to set clear goals. Ask yourself why you want to learn English. Is it for travel, so you can explore new countries and connect with people from different cultures? Is it for work, so you can access better opportunities, impress employers, or communicate with international colleagues? Or is it for study, so you can read books, attend classes, and understand knowledge in English without barriers? When you set a clear goal, learning English becomes more than just memorizing words and grammar. It becomes a mission with purpose. Once you know your goal, remind yourself of it often. Write it down, place it where you can see it every day, and let it guide your actions. On days when you feel tired or frustrated, look at your goal and remember why you started. Motivation is not always natural, sometimes you need to create it. By keeping your goal in front of you, you can turn learning into a habit that moves you closer step by step to where you want to be. But motivation alone is not enough. To truly succeed, you must also have patience. Fluency is not something that grows overnight. It is like planting a seed and waiting for it to become a strong tree. You water it every day, give it sunlight, and slowly, it grows taller and stronger. In the same way, every small effort you make in English builds up over time. Reading one page, listening to one song, learning one new word may feel small today, but after weeks and months, the results become clear. Many learners become discouraged because they expect fast results. They compare themselves to others who speak better and wonder why they are not improving more quickly. But language learning is not a race. Everyone learns at a different speed, depending on their background, habits, and experiences. Patience means accepting your own rhythm and trusting the process. Even when progress feels slow, it is still happening. If you keep practicing, you are moving forward, even if you do not always notice it. While patience keeps you steady, enjoyment gives you energy. If learning English feels like a boring chore, you will lose interest. But if you connect it with activities you love, the process becomes exciting. Watch movies in English, especially ones that inspire you or make you laugh. Read books or articles that match your interests, whether that is stories, science, travel, or sports. Listen to music in English and sing along, even if you make mistakes with the lyrics. Enjoyment makes practice effortless. It turns study into play and transforms language from something you must do into something you want to do. Another way to enjoy the journey is to celebrate small victories. Maybe you managed to introduce yourself confidently to someone new. Maybe you understood a song without looking at the lyrics. Maybe you finished reading a short book in English. These achievements may seem small, but they are powerful signs of growth. When you celebrate them, you build positive energy that pushes you to keep going. Instead of waiting until you are perfectly fluent, enjoy each step along the way. Every success, no matter how small, deserves recognition. Staying positive is also a key part of enjoyment. There will be moments when you feel frustrated, when words will not come out, or when you make mistakes in front of others. Instead of feeling ashamed, smile at these moments. Mistakes mean you are learning. They are not failures, they are proof that you are trying. A positive attitude allows you to see mistakes as opportunities instead of obstacles. With positivity, every challenge becomes a lesson, and every lesson brings you closer to fluency. Remember that fluency grows step by step. No single day will suddenly make you fluent. It is the result of many small actions repeated over time. Every conversation you have, every page you read, every sentence you write is one more brick in the foundation of your fluency. If you stay motivated with clear goals, patient with the process, and joyful in your practice, the results will come naturally. In the end, learning English is not only about reaching a destination. It is about enjoying the journey. It is about the people you meet, the new ideas you discover, and the confidence you build in yourself along the way. Motivation gives you purpose, patience keeps you steady, and enjoyment fills the journey with happiness. When these three qualities come together, learning English becomes not just easier, but deeply rewarding. So keep your goals clear, remind yourself why you started, and take every step with patience. Surround yourself with things you love in English and celebrate each small victory. Stay positive even when the road feels long, and remember that fluency is not a sudden achievement but a beautiful process of growth. With motivation, patience, and enjoyment guiding your way, you will not only reach fluency, but you will also create a journey worth remembering.